Welcome to Yellow Brick Road. I'm Jordan. This is James. And today we're going to talk about Media Matters, how they prop up Ben Shapiro and smear Bernie Sanders. That's right, I said prop up. You'll figure out why. First, please consider donating to Devon's Journey to Recovery. The link is in the description box, and the website is in the intro to this video. Please donate. This is our second attempt because our live stream cut out. Oh, a comment already. From Langston. So, yeah, please donate. Devon's Journey to Recovery. Link down there. Alright, so apparently Ben Shapiro and Media Matters gotten a little, what's the word, tiffy? Tissy? Hissy fit? Because someone alluded that Ben Shapiro was alluding that the Notre Dame fire was caused by a Muslim. And Ben Shapiro took offense to this. And he responded, calling what they do garbage and all that. His typical thing. He's afraid to curse. His dad might spank him if he curses, so he calls him garbage. And then he gets one particular response that apparently went viral. Media Matters responded to Ben Shapiro saying, "Fuck you and the borough you rode in on." Now, to me, a normal human being, that's not a big deal at all. In fact, I immediately read it as a play on words from what Ben Shapiro said, which was, "Fuck you and the horse you rode in on," which he said to The Economist, who called him alt-right. Even though he's the most hated person from the alt-right, I received the most threats according to the ADL, and I'm the...
It's like
You've heard the spiel before.
It's like I batted 300.
Yeah.
Like what?
Yeah. Now, for my purposes, none of that means anything to me. The gossipy stuff, I don't give a fuck about. It's more about the players involved, the names involved, and me with my conspiratorial thoughts in the back of my head, what I think is going on here. And it has something to do with propping this guy up. So, okay, so this is a clip from Ben Shapiro today. It's titled, "Proof Media Matters is a Garbage Organization." Now, he made an entire, 50-something minute video about this on the day after Trump announces where he's vetoing the bill to end the U.S. support of Saudi Arabia and Yemen. But this was more important, and this should be very, very telling. This is how this guy gets his support. This is how he gathers fans up. He needs someone to fight against in those regards. I mean, you would think a guy like this, with this following, standing up against the Yemen war, you'd be like, whoa, that would bring in a lot of numbers.
Yeah.
But if he starts talking about that, he'll have to talk about other wars. And that's not good for his business.
No.
That's not good for his brand. He needs the gossipy Media Matters bullshit to bolster him up. And they need him. They need him, quite frankly.
It's going to leave like a vacuum hole.
Yeah.
What about this war over here, Ben? Not only Yemen, Syria, Palestine, Iraq, Afghanistan.
I'm thinking these guys call Ben Shapiro alt-right because they know he's not. And since they know he's not, they can continue the argument for years and years, and it could be a mainstay topic. All right, so this is Ben Shapiro complaining about Media Matters. Pay attention to the language he uses, by the way.
Media. Media Matters is a left-wing group founded by David Brock in coordination with John Podesta and Hillary Clinton right before Hillary Clinton ran for the Senate in 2000. It has long been a font for Clintonista hackery, and its main mission is basically to knock right-wing people off the air, to knock conservatives off the air.
Remember, he says that it's meant to knock right-wing, it's meant to knock conservatives off the air. Remember, he says that.
Media Matters has for years been funded by members of the Democratic Party left and higher echelon people on the left, specifically to dig up garbage on people on the right, and then to try to initiate fake secondary boycotts against advertisers. They did this to Tucker Carlson. They've done it to Laura Ingraham. They've done it to Rush Limbaugh. They've done it to Sean Hannity. They've done it to they're a 501c3 group. They certainly do not act like a 501c3 nonprofit.
Also remember, he's talking about this whatever group funded by Democratic higher-ups to smear right-wing guys in the poll, try to get advertisement pulled by boycotting. So there's an article that Jordan Sheridan, I guess, took a screenshot of from The Hollywood Reporter. Media Matters gets some right-wing competition. A new group called Truth Revolt, run by radio host Ben Shapiro, launched Monday with calls to boycott Ritz Crackers if it doesn't stop its sponsorship of Al Sharpton's show on MSNBC. Now, I can give zero fucks about Al Sharpton, but this sounds like the same behavior as Media Matters. And look, there's Ben Shapiro's name all over it. If you look at a news cycle and then you go to him, you can see the exposure happen. The problem is his fan base, they don't look at the news cycle. They get their news from him and sources like him. That's why they might not hear about the whole Yemen thing.
A lot of people won't. If they, if it's almost like this dude straight up just walked out of a time machine from like 2003. That's not good.
Speaker turning off.
A neocon from 2003. Straight up walked out of a time machine.
It's in a 2003 neocon with a new suit and a new haircut and different graphics.
I don't see how anybody could, how he could be favorable. And like, the first time I saw him, like, oh, you're an asshole. That's about it.
Yeah, but
like the very first time I saw this dude on like YouTube.
Most people, most of his fans for sure, do not suspect him of being a war-hungry, chicken hawk neocon. I don't think fans see that.
Oh,
they see him destroying leftists, drinking leftist tears.
Well, you can't be a fan when it comes to ideas.
Yeah.
With anything or anybody, because then you'll end up being like a contradicting what should be actually going on, as far as ideas being presented to each other, and the best one will stand. And the purpose is to have the best thing possible for everybody else, not have some sort of agenda that I'm going to push for. And because you're my fans, you're not going to see really what I mean.
Yeah. Let's let him continue a little bit. If it gets boring, I'll just cut it off and move on.
They're a horrible organization designed specifically to smear their own political opponents and the political opponents of people like Hillary Clinton, and then to target advertisers who dare to spend their money with those people.
We just saw you do that.
Yeah.
Or at least you tried to do that in the past. Ritz Crackers, man. Come on, son.
Even if those advertisers are not actually involved in promoting that show alone. So an advertiser can advertise on Tucker and also advertise on MSNBC. Media Matters targets the advertisers for Tucker. Media Matters, by the way, is so obviously partisan that after Joy Reid was hit with a bunch of allegations and, in fact, proof that she had said some terrible things in her past, Media Matters said that was a hit job against Joy Reid.
Remember, they're very partisan. Here's the narrative he's putting on here, that it's a left versus right thing. They're the left. They represent the whole left, and they attack the whole right.
Well, there's no spectrum, you see. It's just one big thing, right?
Yeah. Pay attention to those words.
So Media Matters' only job is to create these long, giant files of supposedly terrible stuff that people on the right have said. So Talia Levin thanked Media Matters on her Twitter feed for helping her gather information for her crap column. And then I tweeted out that her crap column was in fact a crap column, and that she was taking a tweet that was perfectly innocent and historically accurate, and then trying to link me to violence against Muslims on the basis of that, which is not only a stretch, it is a tearing apart of any semblance of logic or reason or honesty. So
I never did that. I never incited violence against Muslims. Not once.
Ever.
Like, you can go back in time and
Yeah.
and then for those that say, well, he apologized, and like, then what's all this shit? You know, and that's from like months ago.
Yeah.
So it's a little odd. Christ.
So I tweet that out, and Media Matters tweets back at me from their corporate account. F you and the borough you wrote in on. So first of all, man, leave the borough out of it. Like, I don't know what the borough has to do with anything, but you leave that borough out of it. And I don't understand, honestly, what the reference is supposed to be to. Okay, then, Media Matters tweets this out.
He's lying, but he knows what the reference is. Too.
I'm trying to justify, so they start getting ratioed, which means people on Twitter point out how dumb this is. And that Media Matters is a garbage organization, because they are. By the way, it is worth...
I don't think they look into, not that Media Matters is awesome. They're terrible. But, you know, I think it's kids that, like, oh, the SJWs, I'm on Ben's team, and we need to take down the leftists from bullshit that this guy fucking spews. That's where they get that from.
This is just embarrassing for fucking mankind. This shit's
for
actual,
any sense of journalism. This
is an actual thing. Yeah. Like,
yeah.
Oh, you're popular because a bunch of silly people
Yeah.
who are children decide to, like, you know, like, make sure that no one else talks. But then, you know, like, your side, it's also, you know, propped up by children. You're their champion. Like, wow.
That's my conspiracy theory, that Media Matters points out Ben Shapiro overtly because, well, they want him to be the voice on the other side. Like, oh, we can handle Ben.
It was easy.
We know how to keep an argument going with him to where that's the topic that we all talk about. All right, so
go ahead.
give me a couple more words here.
Worthy of note, Media Matters is constantly quoted as a media watchdog. That's how it is termed constantly by the left-wing media, by the mainstream media. They're constantly calling Media Matters a media watchdogs, just as they called the Southern Poverty Law Center a racism watchdog. These are hardcore leftist groups with motivation. Media Matters proved it yesterday.
Remember, hardcore leftists. They're like super left. Remember, he's using words like that.
F you and the borough you wrote in on for criticizing an opinion columnist in the pages of the Washington Post for basically throwing out slanderous material. Not legally slanderous, but in the generic sense. Media Matters didn't stop with suggesting that I F myself and also that they wanted to have sex with the donkey. They also continued by then trying to explain their way out of this.
Now, see how he's turning the smear back onto them. Now he's going to smear them in a weird way. And it's going to be like, oh, well, Ben's right. Like, no. Media Matters is right. No, Ben's right. No, Media Matters.
It's like just enough so that way they can keep going. You know.
Yeah. All right, so I'm just going to verbally just speed through this. So Ben Shapiro sent a tweet to The Economist, who wrote a story calling him the alt-right or something like that. And he said, fuck you and fuck the horse you rode in on, or something like that.
You said that?
That's what Shapiro said to them. So Media Matters sent to Shapiro, fuck you, or fuck the borough you rode in on. So I'm like, those are clearly references. They're referencing something you've said before.
Yeah.
Like, clearly. So him pretending he had no idea where that comes from is absolutely silly. Or he's never listened to rap music in his life. He can't see a play on words right in front of his face.
I doubt this guy got to
He could be
experience
an
a lot of
automaton
things
and not realize
in
it.
his life. Huh?
He could be an automaton. Yeah.
An automaton?
Nah. Fuck, I just said it right the first time.
Or
Automaton.
Automaton.
Yeah, some robotic
Okay.
motherfucker
Yeah.
who can't read between the lines. But, alright, so, whatever. Gossipy. There's a reason we bring up this non-story, this bullshit non-story. It's because this is the overt stuff. Media Matters is involved in. This is the stuff they want you to see and they want you to talk about. The covert stuff, the stuff they don't want you to see, what they're really doing behind closed doors, them in organizations like them, what they really do behind closed doors, where the real game's happening at. There's your story, there's your headline. Stop Sanders. Democrats are agonizing over his momentum. This is from April 16th. It's yesterday. All right. When Leah Doherty, a former Democratic Party official, addressed a closed-door gathering of about 100 wealthy liberal donors in San Francisco last month, all it took was a review of the 2020 primary rules to throw a scare in them. Democrats are likely to go into their convention next summer without having settled on a presidential nominee, said Mrs. Daughtry, who ran her party's conventions in 2008 and 2016, the last two times the nomination was contested. And Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont is well positioned to be one of the last candidates standing, she noted. That's better. I think I freaked them out, Ms. Daughtry recalled with a chuckle, an assessment that was confirmed by 3 other attendees. They are hardly alone. Someone sounds scared of Bernie Sanders winning the nomination.
I don't trust that guy.
From canopy-filled fundraisers on the coast to the cloakrooms of Washington, mainstream Democrats are increasingly worried that their effort to defeat President Trump in 2020 could be complicated by Mr. Sanders in a political scenario all too reminiscent of how Mr. Trump himself seized the Republican nomination in 2016. Let's continue. I might end up reading this whole fucking thing. Hopefully you guys can see all this.
Oh, boy.
How some Democrats are beginning to ask, do they thwart a 70-something candidate from outside the party structure who is immune to intimidation or incentive and wields support from an unwavering base without simply reinforcing the establishment is out to get me message, the same grievance Mr. Trump used used to great effect. But stopping Mr. Sanders, or at least preventing a contentious convention, could prove difficult for Democrats. So they're setting up this scenario that they're worried that Sanders will lose to Trump. Or they're worried that Sanders will be the guy. I think that's more likely the case. They may use the excuse like, oh, we might lose to Trump if Sanders is the guy.
Yeah.
That's bullshit. Yeah. We all know it's the exact opposite. If Kamala Harris won the nomination, Trump will win against her. Trump will win against Cory Booker. Trump will win against Pete Buttigieg. Once people find out his policies. He's in this article too. Shh.
It's like jobbers to face, like, we'll have you here, so that way this guy doesn't, so that way you don't get enough attention, Like Bernie Sanders is already gonna get a lot of attention, but like clearly, but anybody else that could prove to be legitimate, they'll get washed away.
So talking about Bernie, his strength on the left gives him a real prospect of winning the Democratic nomination and could make him competitive for the presidency if his economic justice message resonates in the Midwest as much as Mr. Trump's appeal to hard-edged nationalism did in 2016. Or Hillary was so corrupt they couldn't vote for her. And for many Sanders supporters, the anxieties of establishment Democrats are not a concern. Meaning, already Bernie's supporters, if he wins the nominate, they're not worried about corporate Democrats. They're not worried about them in the primaries, according to this article at least. I'm not worried. I think he'll win flat out easily.
Sanders?
Yeah. I think Tulsi will give him a decent run. I mean, I'm hearing guys are like,
The thing I'm
fuck Trump. After the Yemen thing, I'm hearing guys like, fuck Trump. I'm voting Tulsi.
the thing I'm
Big name people, check marks.
the thing I'm looking into as far as what Gravel,
Yeah,
they say his name, is gonna bring to the debate,
he's gonna
the
slay
debate
people.
platform.
Yeah,
So when it's him and Tulsi's officially in.
yeah.
Right.
Gravel, I don't think he's officially in.
Oh, but eventually, I would say probably he's going to be.
Yeah.
But eventually, like, to both of them, as well as Sanders, I think, it's going to be somewhat exposing for Sanders, but just because of his overwhelming popularity, he's going to be the nominee, which is unfortunate, because I don't trust either of them.
I think he knows
I
how
don't
to
trust
maneuver
none of them.
around
Him?
Bernie Sanders, yeah.
It's like, why are you silent on the Assange arrest?
I think Gravel would be the person that brings that up.
Probably.
Next paragraph. That prospect is spooking establishment-aligned Democrats, some of whom are worried that his nomination could lure third-party centrists into the field, and it is also creating tensions about what, if anything, should be done to halt Mr. Sanders. How do we stop this guy?
Sanders?
How are we going to stop this guy? This is what these establishment corporate Democrats are talking about.
All they need is some kiddie porn to appear on his laptop, and then
Yeah.
that's like, the Bulls are going to play the Pistons in playoffs. And Michael Jordan, they just found out, Michael Jordan just got hit by a car. It's like, you got this.
So, check this out. Some in the party still harbor anger over the 2016 race, when he ran against Mrs. Clinton and his continuing resistance to becoming a Democrat. But his critics are chiefly motivated by a fear that nominating an avowed socialist would all but ensure Mr. Trump a second term. That's absolute bullshit. They'd rather have Trump elected, as Jimmy Dore will say. They'd rather have Donald Trump elected than Bernie Sanders elected. Because if Bernie gets elected and he does even half of what he's promised to do, they're done for. They're fucked.
Oh, yeah. It's always the presence of someone that they don't like, but as long as they follow through as far as policy, whether it be like within the country or even a foreign policy, they're not really going to complain. Which is why you'll never really say, like, the guys who are against Trump as far as mainstream media or anybody else that's a political figure, they're never going to make a case, because they could if they really wanted to, for him to get impeached or for him to be removed from office, because it's going to take down their team as well. That does the same exact thing.
Yep. And also,
so this is low-hanging fruit.
If you have Bernie Sanders and it has a Democrat next to his name, and you have a Kamala Harris who also has a Democrat next to her name, now you guys you're fucked. Okay, so remember that David Brock guy that this guy was talking about, Ben Shapiro was talking about? David Brock, he founded the media watchdog group, Media Matters for America, right there. He founded that group. Ben Shapiro was just complaining about. This is a quote from him. There's a growing realization that Sanders could end up winning this thing, or certainly that he stays in so long that he damages the actual winner, said David Brock, the liberal organizer, who said he has had discussions with other operatives about an anti-Sanders campaign and believes that it should commence sooner rather than later. Now, when Ben Shapiro says, by Media Matters, who they target conservatives and right wing. No, Ben. Well, yes, that's the overt. Here's the mask. Pay attention to this right here. Behind closed doors, they do sneaky shit like this, to where they're trying to take the Sanders campaign down. Why? On the surface, it's because we don't want Trump to win, and Bernie will lose to Trump, which is absolutely bullshit. I think Fox News put out a poll where he's up by like 7 points in a whatever poll. I don't like polls, but whatever. He's still leading in a Fox News gathered poll over Donald Trump. So the on the surface excuse for trying to take down Bernie Sanders with his operatives, the on the surface excuse is they don't want Trump to win and they don't think Sanders could beat Trump.
Mm-hmm.
That's bullshit. They don't want an actual, like, through and through progressive to win the presidency, because then the rest of their party is fucked. They are fucked. These guys will convert to the right wing. Media Matters, their whole group will will say their vows and enter the Republican Party and become their operatives. Their whole party would fall apart. No lie. Right? Because what if they have Bernie Sanders in office and he wants to put this bill through, and three-quarters of the Democrats in the House and the Senate and shit vote against Bernie Sanders? They're like my own party's not letting me get the things I want to get done.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's because, as far as, like, you know, to a certain degree, or might even just straight up in general, it's like it's just people masquerading as like Democrats or Republicans.
Yeah.
Or I'm a progressive, or I'm a conservative. Not really. You just say you are, but you all bend the knee to the same group of people. You know.
Yeah.
When it comes to policy, foreign policy, whatever have you. You know.
Let's read this. The matter of what to do about Bernie and the larger imperative of party unity has, for example, hovered over a series of previously undisclosed Democratic dinners in New York and Washington organized by the longtime party financier Bernard Schwartz. So they have basically secret meetings, secret dinners to plan out how they'll take down Bernie Sanders.
Oh yeah, it reminds me of the what do you call it?
And this is not some great praise of Bernie Sanders. It's that he's the guy most likely to win, and he's a progressive.
Yeah.
So.
Or were those meetings that Jones would stand outside the building and scream at? What was it? Bilderberg?
Oh, it's Bilderberg.
That's it.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to have these secret meetings that's somewhat unofficial. Everyone knows we're heading over here to talk about this or that, you know.
Yeah. The gatherings have included scores from the moderate or center-left wing of the party, including Speaker Nancy Pelosi of California, Senator Chuck Schumer of New York, the minority leader, former Governor Terry McFuck-his-name of Virginia, Mayor Pete Buttigieg of South Bend, Indiana. Why the fuck is a mayor? Himself, a presidential candidate and the president of the Center for American Progress, Neera fucking Tanden. She's.
I think they misspelled Tulsi Gabbard wrong.
No, she wasn't at this meeting.
Oh, you sure?
Yeah.
I wonder why.
Apparently, Neera Tanden punched a journalist for asking Hillary about the Iraq War.
What happened?
She punched them.
Who?
Neera Tanden.
Is there a video of this?
Oh, fuck no. She probably walks around with scanners in her phone for cameras, so she could turn her creepiness on and know she won't get caught with anything. But
jeez.
Mayor Pete Buttigieg is in this quiet meeting about what do we do about Bernie. They're also named as from moderate to center-left wing of the party. He's not a progressive, in other words. So why is the mayor from South Bend, Indiana, a mayor of some town that came out of nowhere, we surprised us all, where'd he come from, is somehow invited to this fucking meeting? I mean, once again, my conspiracy mind goes off.
Oh, sure. I think he's here for a specific reason, as far as to, you're here, so that way everyone else does not pay attention to these three people over here, or two, depending on like who you consider to be somewhat legitimate. I mean, somewhat legitimate.
I think this is their guy.
Oh my God.
I think this is their guy to take down Bernie Sanders. This is their guy with a squeaky clean record, which is no. I don't think anyone's gonna have a squeaky clean record.
He is young.
He's young. He's gay. he has no policy that we can speak of, truly, other than I like the idea of the Supreme Court justices, but anyone could do that. All his other policies fall short of people. Like, people already have better ideas. Yet for some reason, this guy is just going up in the polls. He's getting support. He's on every fucking TV show. He's on the top. He's on the billing of all the news fucking papers.
Is his policy clear? Or is it somewhat non-existent?
He's for the First Aid Act. Remember that commenter like made a policy up and said it for him?
He made a policy up, or maybe he was trying. I was trying to be fair.
Well, I'm saying if it has a name to it,
you
would think I could just be able to find this right away.
Well, the thing, what it shows, as far as what it shows me, especially from the guy who commented or whatever, it's not exactly clear. It's not exactly like on a billboard where everyone can fucking see it. It's somewhat
hidden because he knows it's not. It was a healthcare thing, and he knows it's not Medicare for all, which everyone by now realizes most people want that shit. So you see the circle of life going on here. Ben Shapiro attacked for this. He props their story up of attacking him, and they prop his story up of attacking them, and they're just holding each other up with these bullshit arguments on the surface level up here. Behind closed doors, this is what happens. Also, if you want to talk about Ben Shapiro, what happens with him on this? In between him arguing about college kids and SJWs and you're a man, in between that, Assange is a Russian agent. Iraq War, they just did it wrong. We should have went, but they did it wrong.
Isn't it cool how he'll do
Venezuela, socialism is evil.
He will make an 8 videos within the week on something some subject that can be considered as something 8 videos on a subject that can be considered low hanging fruit.
Yeah.
But when something like really fucking crazy happens, like Assange being fucking arrested, then there's well, how did he get arrested? Why did he get arrested? Well, who did it? Why did they do it? WikiLeaks said something regarding the arrest prior. Like, what happened? He's a Russian agent. Anyways, clicks his papers, like, back to these low-hanging fruit,
so
fucking topics. It's like, what the fuck, man?
So Shapiro hides his neocon chicken hawk colors in plain sight.
Oh, I think he
and these guys, Media Matters or Center for American Progress, those guys are more behind the scenes. And who's they push in front? Someone who will never talk about any of this. Here's Pete Buttigieg. Here's one of the top 100 most influential people in the world. Here's Nancy Pelosi. Here it is. Here's the shill and
it's like
another shill. Chuck Schumer. Here you go.
Whenever I hear these guys, I'm like, oh, you guys are just bland,
Yeah, and
it's like, oh, you're whatever they want you to be. You probably walk out there with a piece of paper that's signed. So-and-so agrees to say this exact same thing as the guy to my left,
If these guys were actually in the game for winning, they would have supported Bernie back in 2016. It was clear he was the more popular candidate. It was clear as day he was the most popular candidate.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. I mean, I was informed.
Well, I wouldn't say he's the most popular candidate. His policies were the most popular.
Yeah.
It's just the DNC did not put the face to the policy and say, this is our guy. He's actually into these policies. Instead, they spent all their money and, airtime and all that shit and favored Hillary Clinton. And they lost. Now, this time around, it's 100% Bernie Sanders is the candidate.
Maybe it's like
over
skill.
Everyone.
It's some sort of skill
still trying
I developed as far as remembering that he did that.
Yeah.
And as well as him allegedly getting a tip off to this might be happening as far as him getting screwed over by the DNC, and he did nothing to stop it. Which makes me think
he contested, but not as much as people wanted him to.
Well, hey man, that dude should be basically right. Just fucking go to some Red Sox game, strip naked, fucking streak on the field, have a flag up.
I've had thoughts about this, and now I'm like, maybe him sticking around, maybe they could have vanished him if he said, fuck this, I'm going back to where I was, which was being independent rather than a Democrat.
I don't know.
But he stuck around. Maybe it opened the door for other candidates. Oh, Bernie's still here with us. So let's vote in AOC, and they have the perception of being the progressive types. Whether or not they follow through,
I can't get behind him. I can't do it. Yeah. For someone that's, went with the whole Russiagate talking point. As well as Assad. Assad must go. Did he not say that? Did he not call Assad a dictator?
Yeah.
All right, so that's a little fucking that's bothered me a lot. And then, right, and I could be wrong here, but he's somewhat silent when Assange gets arrested, but Gabbard and what's his name? Gravel?
Yeah.
Gravel? Say something. It's like, dude, you're the most popular guy, man. And the reason why that matters is because you're probably going to, if or when you do get elected, as far as what I see how I see it playing out, you're going to be the guy everybody looks to as far as to pardon this guy, Assange, and Chelsea Manning.
Yeah.
So, when you're silent, it's like, are you fucking bending are you bending, your knee to these dudes?
You may very well hire the guys that are talking about Assange.
Mm-hmm.
And he could be doing some team strategy shit. Just leave it alone, and once I get elected, then I'll do something. I can't expect him to not do anything about it. But a lot of those votes for Trump just shifted to Tulsi Gabbard. Ryan Dawson was just talking about, vote Tulsi this year. He had a former Trump supporter. I'm like, fuck this guy. I'm voting Tulsi Gabbard.
I can't get behind her either.
Yeah, I can.
I can't.
I don't vote, period.
Well, me either.
But
as far as
if I took on the surface, in the world we live, yeah, sure.
Yeah, Assad's a dictator, right? Fuck it. Fuck it. I'll play politics. I'll just throw away my morals for a day.
Fair enough.
I saw that. I was like, oh,
I forgot
fuck
about
you,
that shit.
huh?
I forgot about that shit. But I have also heard her change her mind over time. Hey, if you say I fucked up,
did she?
This is me correcting it.
Did she?
Well, she needs a chance to.
Did she do it?
She needs a chance to.
You see, for me, you should make little to no mistakes as far as morality goes when you're in that position.
Okay, that's it for this segment.
All right, you have fun.
Should we cut this like a promo?
I don't do promos.
Whatever, you know what to do. Guys, don't forget Devon's Journey to Recovery. Link in the description box. Website in the intro to this video. Please donate.
Say you wanna get him.